recording?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello. This is Truth Be Told. This is Dr. Walter Aka.
Dr. Kyle Dumpert.
And Dr. Gary Dennis. Back to you from the island.
Aloha. We'll see if our video works this time.
Right. Yeah, we got a lot of flack for that, apparently. Dr. Dennis, you said that people were contacting you talking about where's the video?
Oh, so many people. Many people.
Yeah, tell them whatever. Who cares?
I was like, we'll try again next week.
Yeah, right. Did they know who they're dealing with? We say a lot. We overpromise and underdeliver. That's what this podcast is about. We say we were like, we're gonna do a lot better with this, and this, and then we underdeliver, and we're like, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
It's funny. I've been listening to some of the podcasts, and I was like, man, we really do bitch and complain a lot.
Yes.
Well, it's about to continue today. It's going to continue.
Before we get into that, this week I actually felt pretty good this week. I was in a good headspace.
You didn't have like a scare of COVID or anything.
Yeah, no COVID scares.
Yeah.
I wasn't super annoyed by anybody.
That's positive.
How did you feel? How did you feel when the CDC came out and said everybody coming in from international, including Cancun, now has to quarantine for 2 weeks?
Oh, he felt great.
I was like, why?
And
I thought this was already going on. Like,
you can't get on the plane without a negative COVID test to come back into the country.
Which is, I think that's great.
Like, I think that's great. I've been saying this for so long. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, why are they just starting this now? Like, yeah, that was just ridiculous. But I was like, told you.
Well,
I told you.
We think that we should nominate Gary for like the head of CDC.
Right? I know this stuff.
Down round 3.
6 months before they know it. I'm like, it's crazy. I have no idea why they're just
Gary.
And then I saw I was watching CNN and Sanjay Gupta was up there. He was like, oh yeah, with the new variants of COVID, it's probably best everyone wears a KN95 or an N95. I'm like, duh. Like what? What is going on? You're talking about this a year later? It's just so crazy. It is insane.
Well, they don't have the foresight that Gary does, so which is good. Yeah, I mean, well, Gary for president. That's what I say.
I'm telling you, like in 6 months, they're gonna come on and be like, everyone should be wearing a half face mask respirator with P100 cartridges, and I'm gonna be like, of course, of course,
for a year and a half.
Right.
And make sure that they're gonna show a picture of Gary. This is what you're supposed to look like. And
it's gonna have the date. It's gonna be like March 2020.
It's a hazmat. Gary's gonna be in a hazmat. They're gonna be on all the networks. Like this is what you're supposed to look like now.
Right. Oh. Okay. So now let's get into the complaining.
Well, dentistry. We like to call it dentistry.
Yeah. So the only issues I really had this week was front desk schedulers not understanding what 75 minutes means. So a couple weeks ago, one of my assistants quit. So, and I usually work with 2 assistants out of 2 rooms, and I see a patient every hour, right? So that assistant quit. So I've been having these backup assistants who aren't trained.
Okay.
So I was like, well, that's more for my main assistant to do now because the other person's not really trained. It's just a warm body, holding suction, not really breaking down the room. That's about it, right? So I told the offices, because of that, the appointments now need to be an hour and 15 minutes, which is 75 minutes. Mm-hmm. They're like, okay. So I get to the office and I see the schedule. What they have done is kept 60-minute appointments and then just dragged the appointment time 15 minutes longer over top to double book the other appointment.
Overlap.
I'm like, so it's overlap 15 minutes. I'm like, this is not 75-minute appointments. This is a 60-minute appointment that you have overlapped 15 minutes with another appointment.
Well, Gary, let me try to help you guys get this. So in England, they've removed all like clocks in the classrooms, the clocks with the hand in the classroom, because students can't tell time with those. It needs to be digital. So this is what you're dealing with, Gary. I just want to help you with this.
Stupid.
That
is absolutely stupid.
This is legitimately happened. They're like, what's the point of having these clocks? These students can't tell the time anyway. So again, understand what you're dealing with when it comes to this. So I'm trying to help you out, Gary, so you can get your mind right, because this is upsetting you. I can tell.
Well, because I had to explain to them that like when one appointment ends is when the next one begins. I can't be in two places at the same time.
You're
like, what is that, like one of Newton's laws? Like two objects can't occupy the same space at the same time. I'm like, come the fuck on. Are you kidding me? Like, what? I was like, are you really this dumb? Like, how? This doesn't make sense. So yeah, that
I
so
don't know why
said,
your assistant would have quit. I just can't.
Right. I can see him now. How can both our hands be in here right now? Newton's law number 4 says two objects going on at the same speed cannot.
No, that's funny you said that, because I had one of the backup assistants that came. Every time she would suction, she would put her head in the field, like to block the light. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how am I supposed to see if your fucking head is in the way? Like, who does that?
She wants to see what you're doing, Gary. She does not know what you're doing.
But I'm like, do you need to see or do I need to see? Like,
apparently
what are you doing? Yeah, what are you doing? What the fuck?
So Gary's gonna have a hard time finding a new assistant. Let's just put it that way. After anybody listens to this, they're gonna be like, that bastard is gonna quote physics to me. That's not happening.
Oh man. So, but that was that. Other than that, it was a pretty.
Well, okay. Let me ask you this, guys, because I implemented a new template to try to make my life a lot easier. When it comes to when do I see consultations? Like for me, I've done where I'm like, let me see consultations by themselves, post-ops with post-ops by themselves in the morning and in the afternoon. And in between there, I don't want to see any of those consultations or post-op. I just want to be in the groove just to do surgeries and see that. You see what I mean? So that's my new implementation. And this actually has been implemented for a year. It's just that I've had to repeat myself multiple times. So then I actually got people to just put a template. Okay, so let me tell you what I did. I actually just, I got 2 highlighters and I colored in the time for one procedure to post-op. This is the time from 9 until 10 or whatever. And I highlighted it.
What color was a highlighter for that?
Thank you for asking. It was blue. And then I highlighted the other parts where surgery is supposed to be in green. So now there's no way.
No, you messed up because you used blue and green. They're too close of colors, right? You need like green and orange.
2 different ones.
Blue and pink.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Because those 2 are too, so they're gonna mess it up. I already know they're gonna mess it up.
See, you've ruined my year already, because this was my excitement. I was like, there's no way. Like my 3-year-old daughter could see the difference and say, Daddy, this is green and this is blue. And then I said, okay, so what goes in green? And she'll do that because they actually do matching games in school, in preschool. So I know that the educational level is at the level of preschool. So I know for sure that there's no way they can mess this up. I'm excited about this. You guys are being assholes, and I'm excited. No physics needed. No telling time. Just green and blue.
Follow the colors.
That's it. Just that's it. I mean, I'm not even gonna mix it up and say what does red and green make. Nothing like that. No, that's too advanced. Just 2 different colors. You put it in there, and then that's it. So I'm excited. I'm actually very excited for this year. I'm really excited.
They're gonna mess it up. You know that, right?
Yeah.
So Kyle, I mean, I know Gary's very negative, but Kyle, you feel like this is gonna be messed up too?
I use a block schedule at my office. I have I break it down into $1,000 procedure here,
beautiful,
500 to 1,000 here, 250 to 500 here. This is what I want every day to look like. Take this appointment, plug it into this spot.
And how successful are you? It's wonderful, right?
I'd say about 50% of the time.
Got it. Failure.
Yeah. That's a hard F. That's a hard F.
Solid F.
But
How do we improve? How do we do this? How do we,
I don't know. It part of it's my problem or my fault, because if somebody's in there for a little $250 emergency appointment, I have a very hard time saying no to people that are in pain. So if they're coming in and they're in pain, I'm going to say, we can do the root canal. And they said, okay, yeah, I want to do it. I said, you want to do it now? So my little 15-minute appointment now turns into an hour and a half crown or root canal and crown appointment. So the staff are learning that I am the one that really doesn't follow that at times, because I'm going to do the procedure. And I mean, they don't complain about me seeing more patients there. My staff is great about, staying late or working over lunch. And I try not to do that, but now it all comes back to the owner and the boss. And I take responsibility for that. But I still think you're going to have about a 50% success rate.
That sucks. That really sucks. No, you guys ruined my day. I literally
ruined your year.
Yeah, I was so excited about it. I mean, I'm like, it's gonna look great. I'm so excited. Like, okay,
you need a pink highlighter, man. I'm telling you, that will change.
You're telling me the colors that I picked was gonna lead to my failure.
Yes.
Okay. Well, if anybody else has any input, let me know, because I really thought I did well.
Like, I think you should do green and pink, right? And green,
it's kind of too late, Gary. I'm not gonna lie to you. I already sent this email out.
Well, this is for, you can do this in 2022.
I'm not doing it again. If I'm gonna have a heart failure, I'm not doing this shit again. That was too much. Like I wrote like an email that basically broke it down and
they didn't read it. They didn't read it.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you, they didn't read it. How long was the email? Was it more than like 4 sentences?
It was a very detailed email.
No, there's no way in hell they read that. They did not read that.
And I even had the ADA code associated. Oh God.
No. There's no way. There's no way they read the first 4 sentences and then closed it. That's it. You lost their attention, man. You got 4 sentences. That's it.
I agree with Gary. I doesn't happen often, but yeah.
First, and you're basically both agreeing to just making my life miserable. Got it, man. Okay.
But see, look. If you go back to the color thing, right? If you have, Kyle, you can use this too. Look, if you want like the big money surgery cases or whatever, that needs to be green. Right?
Why green? What did you?
What
green
money?
Means go. Green means money. Green means go. Right? Then consults need to be pink, because it's kind of like red. Like, you're not really making shit over here. You're gonna be in the red if we see consults all day, because it won't make any fucking money. Right?
So why don't you just pick red?
Well, because there's no red highlighters.
True.
So that's why I was like pink.
Okay.
If you're highlighting, you know what I'm saying?
So
pink and green.
Okay. Pink and
that's
green.
How you do it, man. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it'll
a lot of psychology in this.
Yes.
You should write a book. How not to fuck up. By Gary Dennis. How not to fuck up and not use physics.
The book would it's gonna be a easy sell, because the book's only gonna be 4 sentences long.
New York bestseller. Review. Great book.
The first sentence is, don't be dumb. Right? I got a quarter of the book done already.
Read the whole book, back to front. That's awesome. All right, let's move away from my failure of 2021. What else is going on, guys? What do we have to complain about or talk about? COVID.
Vaccine.
The rollout has been atrocious.
Yeah.
It's absurd. Like,
I'm actually nervous, because I already we got the shot the first round. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get the second one.
Me either.
Yeah.
Me either. I was like stress-free for 2 weeks, and now I got I gotta get it on the floor. I got like 10, 11 days to figure out how I'm gonna get this damn thing. And if I don't, then
you only have what, a 48-hour window within that 4-week waiting period?
I think it's like 2 to 3 days. I think you can take it up to 2 to 3 days before or after. But
yeah,
like, it's crazy, because Like even when they open up, like I'm on like I think 6 different websites,
Right.
and they'll send me an email, right? And they'll be like, click this link we have, and you can schedule for man. And then it'll be like registration opens at 9, right? But of course, I was in treatment. So then when I look at my phone, it's 10 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, let me click on the link, and then like a pop up. We have no more appointments available. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like
what I don't understand is how did we go from 60 to 70% of the population doesn't want it to now everybody seems to want it? That's the part that I'm trying to figure out how we went from that to that.
Well, I disagree with that because
that was Gary. You can't disagree with literally. That was actually research. You can't disagree with this one.
No, everybody. Well, what I'm saying is that everybody does not still want it now.
Okay, so what's the problem? You think
the problem is that they're sending 1,000 vials to Bumblefuck place, and
Bedford?
In that place, in that fucking Bumblefuck place, that's where only 60% of the people want it.
It's pronounced Bedford.
All right. Fucking Wharton, Texas, wherever the fuck that is. Like, they're sending it to these bumblefuck towns, and nobody there fucking wants it.
So you're saying that
they don't even wear masks there. Nobody fucking wants it there, right? And they have like 10,000 vials, and then you go to fucking Houston, and they send like 400 vials to Houston
for a
billion fucking people.
Yeah.
So it's not a billion.
What you're saying is that we shouldn't care about the small towns, but let's focus on the big towns.
No, we should focus on people who fucking want it.
And how
don't just send the shit. They should have, each state should have a registration thing, right?
Okay.
You go on there if you fucking want it. If you don't want it, then don't go on there.
That should be the title. If you fucking want it.
If you fucking want it, register.
Click here.
Yeah. Put in your info. Right? If you don't want it, then go with God.
God. Okay. Well, I now know why you're not mayor or governor of anything. Let's forget half of it.
I swear I heard Como say the same thing yesterday. No, I'm joking.
Let's not do that, because someone's going to censor asses, and we're going to put off every platform. So let's not do that. No, I do. I'm actually kind of concerned, though, honestly, about this whole rollout situation, because you get the first round, you get excited, you're like, okay, cool, I got my first round, and then now I'm just like, okay, am I going to be able to get my second round? And that's the part that really does concern me. It really does.
I just think it's another perfect example of the government sticking their finger in something and messing it up.
Okay,
they're the ones in charge of it. They're the ones in charge of it, and they can't manage it.
But this was state. This is state government that's in charge of it right now.
I'm not discriminating against federal and state.
No. He doesn't care.
I hate them both.
Kyle is equally. He hates every government. He hates libraries. He hates anything. He hates anything associated with the government. But okay, well, so what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I mean,
it's every man for themselves. That's
okay.
how,
yes. It's
and I think they came out and said that. I think the CDC came out and said that because some people, younger doctors and stuff that aren't really at risk, were having a real ethical dilemma, saying, "Look, I should get this. I want to get this, but there's a lot of older people that should have this vaccine before I do." And the CDC basically came out. I think it was the CDC, and they said, "Look, if you get a chance to get it, get it. Every man for themselves." And that blew my mind. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's actually when Kyle went and pushed that old lady out of the way.
Move it, Grandma.
Right. He said, "Screw you, lady."
And he threw his card down to her, like, coming off as I fix those teeth for you.
Like, I would have happily. My parents live right next door to me. My dad's 75, my mom's 65. I would have happily given them my dose, but the pharmacy wouldn't give to anybody but medical workers at that time. So even if I said, "Look, it's my dose, just give it to one of my parents," the government wouldn't have allowed that, which doesn't make any sense.
Which then speaks to what Gary said, which is whoever wants it should get it, versus mandating certain people, because I personally, and this is just my personal belief, I personally think that teachers should have been close to the top, because that would allow parents to go to work.
They are. They're 1B. Well,
I'm
depending
talking
on
about,
the state.
they should have been like, okay, if you're looking to see who was on the, I would have put them probably underneath like people that worked in the, ICU in the hospitals. I would put right underneath them. I really would have, because I honestly believe if you want the economy to start over again, you have to get teachers back in. That's
okay. So I see what you're saying, but
Right.
so 1A would be healthcare personnel, right? Because if all the doctors die, then there's no one to treat anybody. Right?
We agree with that. Yeah.
Right. Then the teachers were in 1B, which is like the over 65-year-olds, the grocery store people,
Okay.
all that. So they're in that,
Right.
so they're still, still high up, but
Right.
they're, most schools they're doing online.
Yeah, they're not getting. Well, the one thing, I've talked to a few teachers this week, and they're not getting anything. They're not. The school isn't organizing anything for them to actually get the vaccine. Like, they're not actually able to get the vaccine right now. There's not enough.
Oh well, I mean, none of us are able to get the vaccine.
Oh, we did. We got the first round.
Yeah, we got the first one.
Yeah.
But then they were like, "Oh, we're not holding the second ones anymore. Just shoot
them.
everybody in the arm you can with this stuff."
Yeah.
It's a.
Well, let's transition out of something that Kyle hates, government, to something that he hates more, insurance.
Government. Oh, I was going to talk more about government because.
Oh, Jesus, Kyle.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to transition beautifully into this.
No, this is a good transition because it has to do with COVID also.
Go ahead.
So every couple of years, I wasn't aware of this as a new business owner, the DEP regulates radiation producing equipment, which is our x-rays. And every year you pay a registration fee. And every couple of years, apparently they come around and inspect the stuff. So I'm in the middle of seeing patients Monday morning sometime, and my front desk says, "Hey, DEP's on the phone. They want to talk to you." I said, "About what?" And they said, "About the x-ray equipment." I don't know that much about x-ray equipment. I don't want to be put on a phone with an inspector and have him answer questions or have me answer questions that I'm going to get wrong, and he decides he wants to shut me down over it. So I say, tell him to email me the questions. I'll get back to him just to buy some time. Gives me time to think about it.
Look up the answers.
So DEP agents are not going to dental offices during COVID to do their inspections because it's not safe enough for them to go into a dental office for an inspection. That's my first problem. One, we're all there every day. I'm seeing 50, 60 patients a day. People aren't getting sick anywhere across the country in dental offices. And you're going to sit at home and have me do your job for you, because he sent me the email of like 15 different questions. So with an x-ray unit, you have the actual unit, you have the x-ray tube. He wants model number, serial number, date of manufacturer for everything, every unit, every tube, every little piece of thing that I just bought the office. I didn't buy the equipment that came with it. Some of this stuff is from the 90s that I don't have any of that paperwork. So he sends me this list of stuff. And finally I start sweet talking. Hey, I just bought the office, all this stuff. Is there any way you could send me the information from the last report whenever it was done, which was 4 years ago? So he did send me that stuff and gave me most of the information I needed, which was very helpful. But it kind of rubbed me the wrong way for him to say, you have to find all this information for me that normally I want to know what your KV, your MA, your exposure time, all this stuff, all the settings that he is supposed to check, and saying, do this for me. I'm just going to sit at home, send out some emails, and I'm going to get paid for it.
So are you paying the same rate?
Well, yeah, it's a registration fee that you have to pay every year.
So you're paying the same registration fee,
right,
to do your job?
Yes.
That's all.
Yes.
I need to get that. I want to be an inspector.
It's government work, man. That's a government job. You think they got any pay cuts this year? You think they got shut down and their paycheck got shut down? No, they're guaranteed paid. Anyway, insurance.
That's a weird transition.
No, but like, I mean, they should be paying you to do that shit.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you shouldn't have to pay anything because you're doing the work for them.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
All right.
Anyway,
transition. Insurance. You hate insurance. Go.
So you guys have heard of umbrella insurances, right? Where you credential with one company and it gives you access to a bunch of different other
like
companies.
Geico. You can bundle your home and auto.
No, completely different.
Yeah, like
so
like Delta has different insurances in different parts.
Right. So instead of credentialing with Cigna, with Humana, with Blue Cross Blue Shield individually, you contact an umbrella insurance company like Carrington or Zealous or Maverist. You credential with them, and then they give you access to all these different insurance companies. And part of the benefit to that is, say Cigna will give you $500 for a crown. If you go through one of these third parties, you get a higher fee schedule, so you can get $700 for a crown and still get access to those patients. So I work with an insurance negotiating company that manages this whole web of insurance stuff, and I'm telling my Cigna patients, because they're telling me go through this umbrella network and you'll get higher reimbursements. You'll still be in network. So I tell all my Cigna patients, which I only have about 100 of them, that I'm going through insurance recredentialing. You might get some stuff in the mail saying that we're no longer participating office. Ignore it. We're getting back in network. Just bear with us. So that whole process, they're all fine with it. Yeah, thanks for letting us know. So this whole process is good now. I canceled with Cigna. I signed up with this umbrella insurance company. And we're getting EOBs coming back saying we're in network. This is the amount you get. This is what the patient's responsible for. Patients are unhappy because their deductible went up and they're calling Cigna saying, hey, why did this go up? Cigna's telling them, well, Dr. Dumpert's no longer in network with us. They're calling our office saying you're no longer in network. And we're looking at the EOB, and it says right on the EOB that you're listed as in network. So we're calling Cigna, we're calling the umbrella insurance company, and they said, yeah, you're in network through a third party, but you're not in network through Cigna. So we're telling patients that you're not in network. And so 100 people are just mad at me right now. So that's what just that whole web of confusion that insurance brings up, because they're basically trying to save as much money as possible. So they want the patient to go to somebody that's directly networked with them, so they don't have to pay as much for a crown or for a cleaning or whatever. So they're trying to tell people right now that he's in network, but he's not in network. So just go somewhere else. And that rubs me the wrong way also.
I can see why.
So that's all I have to complain about. Thank you for letting me get that off my chest. I feel better already.
This was good, Kyle. I feel like you've grown as a person. No, I mean, I think we all have the same issues with insurance. They're basically just jerks. I mean, I wish we could find an insurance person that will come on and defend them, but I just don't know how you can defend some of the BS that they do.
Man, MetLife. I have 3 or 4. I have 4 root canals that MetLife has not paid on, and one of them is got to be like 6 months. They said, this is what they said, that when we initially sent the claims, that they had they were updating their system. So all of my information was lost in their system, but they had paid for the consult.
Oh,
And I'm like, how is that even possible if you're going to pay for something and not pay for the other stuff?
Yeah.
If your system was down, like that, just doesn't.
all right.
Right. So
They've
then
done-
they're like,
they've-
oh,
They've done the same thing to me where I send in the pack of papers and then they say, well, we didn't get this one piece of information. Yes, you did, because if you got some of it, you got all of it. It's all in the same pack.
Right.
yes.
Right.
Right. So
Well,
then,
I know you can get reference numbers, and that doesn't mean anything to them either.
No.
By the way, yeah, that reference number means not a damn thing to them. So that's another thing. So don't even worry. If they give you a reference number, just be like, oh, okay, let me write it down and just throw it in the trash, because that's how much they appreciate it.
yeah.
That reference number. But go ahead.
Oh, so then I had to wait for them to like basically damn near like re-credential me again. Then we submitted the stuff again. Now they wanted a narrative for why the person needed a root canal. And
That doesn't mean anything either.
I'm like, okay. So I told them just copy all of my notes.
Yeah.
Send that to them. Right. So then like another month or two goes by. I'm like, where the hell's the money? And they're like, oh, it's going, what they do, like, is it like peer review or something?
Oh, the dentist that works for them.
Yeah. Right. So they're doing that. And I'm like, well, how long have they been doing it? You know, and they still haven't paid. Like it's now the next year.
Wow.
It's 2021. And so then I told them, I was like, look, I'm not fucking with MetLife. I'm not seeing any fucking MetLife people until those fuckers pay.
No.
Makes sense.
You know? Because I'm like, what the fuck? Like, give me my fucking money.
And that's the solution, I think, is all dentists just need to say, look,
We're done.
we're done all at once.
But you know what's funny too? I actually like if you've ever read if anybody reads my narrative, and I can send it to you, I actually go to articles and write. I literally copy and paste article, and I cite the article for why we're doing whatever procedure. Why do you need
that?
It doesn't matter to them.
No, it doesn't.
And I'm like, how can you argue with literally a double-blind study?
Because their response is it doesn't meet our criteria.
Oh, which is what
So,
less.
so your criteria is not based in science.
Thank you. Yeah, like I used to get so irritated, and then I'd be like, okay, let me talk to the doctor that you guys hired, and then the doctor will call me, and I'll be like, okay, now I want you to just read what I said to you guys. Okay, yeah, I get it. Okay, now tell me how that's not right. And he'd be like, well, if you look at their insurance, okay, so it's their insurance, and the patient would have to literally read the fine print in order to understand that you guys were never going to pay for this. So why don't you guys just tell the patient that, hey, listen, we were never going to pay for this. Why do we have to go through all this charade and all the BS? And then I'm like, Doc, we're not on record. I'm not recording you, but you know this is bullshit, right? And he goes, you know. And I'm like, you know it's bullshit, right? You know. Have a good day. I just wanted that acknowledgement that he knew it was bullshit. Like what he was saying coming out of his mouth, he knew it was bullshit. That's all. And then thank you. Okay, see you. Bye.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, let's go ahead and let's wrap out. Let's wrap it up, guys. I think this is going to be a short one for us today. Anything else to talk about? Anything positive before we leave? Because it's raining in Houston right now, so there's nothing positive about the weather.
Oh, yes. There was not a terrorist attack on or at the Capitol during the inauguration. I think that's something that we all need to be happy about.
Yes.
You know.
That was actually good. So I'm glad that didn't happen, and I'm glad everybody was safe. I personally was working all day, so I didn't get to see anything. I heard that poem that girl did. That was really nice. That was really nice. I forgot what her name was. Amanda something. So,
she had a yellow dress on. That's all I remember.
There you go. If you want just something inspirational, just listen to that. I don't think anybody, whatever political background I don't think anybody can hate on that poem. I thought it was really good. All right, gentlemen, let's call it a day. Let's call it a podcast, and let's move on. All right, we good?
All right.
Yes, man.
All right,
guys. Talk to you guys.
All right, later.